We begin on Capitol Hill, where yesterday the Senate Judiciary Committee turned its focus to a growing concern impacting retailers and communities across the country: organized theft. In a hearing titled Beyond the Smash and Grab, lawmakers examined the rise of sophisticated criminal networks that are moving beyond simple shoplifting into large-scale, coordinated operations. The committee heard testimony from a range of experts who painted a picture of a complex problem. David Glaw, the CEO of the National Insurance Crime Bureau, provided data on the financial toll of these crimes. Scott McBride of American Eagle Outfitters spoke to the direct impact on the retail sector, while Donna Lem from IMC Logistics explained how these networks disrupt the entire supply chain. Finally, San Diego County District Attorney Summer Stephan, representing the National District Attorneys Association, discussed the significant challenges law enforcement and prosecutors face in dismantling these criminal enterprises. From a congressional probe into criminal networks to a major investigation now underway at the White House itself. The White House Counsel's office has launched a sprawling investigation into former President Joe Biden's use of the Autopen during his time in office. Senior administration officials have confirmed that the probe is being coordinated with the Department of Justice and involves reviewing tens of thousands of documents already turned over by the National Archives. That number is expected to grow to more than 1 million documents as the investigation continues. The core of the inquiry centers on the extent to which the Autopen, a machine that mechanically replicates a person's signature, was used to sign official documents, and more importantly, who authorized its use. The investigation seeks to determine whether a formal policy was in place to safeguard the device, and whether critical presidential decisions were effectively made by unelected staffers. In a sharply worded statement, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt called the previous administration's use of the device a sign that the former president had handed the power of the presidency to an Autopen, controlled by unelected leftist staffers. The investigation is looking specifically at a series of controversial pardons and clemency grants issued in the final weeks of the Biden presidency. The former president used the Autopen to sign preemptive pardons for family members, as well as for figures like Dr. Anthony Fauci and General Milley. Notably, the only pardon he signed by hand was for his son, Hunter Biden. In a recent interview, former President Biden defended his actions, stating he made every decision himself. However, reports from that time indicated he did not individually approve each name in the mass clemency grants. Officials say the goal is to bring transparency to how business was conducted in the previous White House and to answer outstanding questions about the former president's health and capability while in office. The White House noted that this is a separate effort from a similar investigation being conducted by the House Oversight Committee. Current administration officials stressed that President Trump does not use an Autopen for any official business, signing all executive orders and official documents live and in person. While one part of the administration looks into the actions of its predecessor, another is touting the results of its current policies, particularly at the U.S. southern border. U.S. Customs and Border Protection has released its data for June, reporting that border crossings have plummeted to historic lows. Nationwide, CBP recorded just over 25,000 encounters last month, the lowest monthly number ever recorded by the agency. At the southern border specifically, apprehensions of individuals crossing illegally fell to just over 6,000, which is 15% lower than the previous record low. The data also shows a single-day record of only 136 apprehensions on June 28th. CBP Commissioner Rodney Scott attributed the sharp decline to the administration's relentless focus on enforcement. The agency also reported that there were 0 parole releases for the month, a stark contrast to nearly 28,000 tours in June of 2024. Beyond migration figures, the report highlighted a significant increase in drug seizures. While fentanyl confiscations rose by 3% for May, seizures of methamphetamine jumped by 102%, with heroin and cocaine seizures also seeing double-digit increases. However, the drop in border crossings has been accompanied by a sharp rise in violence against federal agents. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem announced an 830% increase in assaults on ICE agents compared to the same period last year. Recent incidents underscore this trend, including a shooting in McAllen, Texas, where a gunman was killed after attempting to ambush Border Patrol agents, and a riot at a detention center in Alvarado, Texas, which led to 12 individuals facing federal charges, including attempted murder. In response to heightened tensions and concerns over agent conduct during enforcement actions, Democrats in Congress have introduced the Visible Act. Senator Alex Padilla of California says the bill, which would require agents to have visible identification and prevent them from obscuring their faces, is necessary to ensure basic accountability and reduce fear in communities. Turning now to domestic policy, the administration is proposing significant changes to the nation's Medicare system. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, or CMS, yesterday unveiled its proposed physician fee schedule for the 2026 calendar year. The plan includes a notable pay increase for doctors, with some seeing a potential pay hike of nearly 3.8%. Under the proposal, CMS would increase the conversion factor, a key multiplier used to calculate payments for physician services. The administration says the goals of the new rule are twofold: to provide a much-needed financial boost to doctors participating in Medicare, while also cracking down on wasteful spending within the system. According to Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the changes are also designed to modernize Medicare services and expand access to programs focused on chronic disease prevention, aiming for better long-term health outcomes for seniors and a more efficient system overall. And for millions of American seniors, there is a new forecast on a key financial issue for the coming years. The cost of living adjustment for Social Security payments in 2026 could be 2.6%, according to a new estimate from the Senior Citizens League. The advocacy group raised its projection by 0.1% from last month based on the latest federal inflation data released for June. The group noted that its forecast has now increased for 5 consecutive months, a reflection of what it calls mounting inflationary pressures in the economy. This projected 2.6% increase for 2026 would be just slightly higher than the 2.5% COLA that beneficiaries received for the current year, 2025. While the official determination won't be made for another 3 months, this forecast provides an early look at what tens of millions of Social Security and Supplemental Security income recipients might expect in their checks next year.